Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Now tonight we take a closer look at the future of Malaysia's education system. The Ministry of Education recently launched a 6-year strategic education plan. Are we witnessing the beginning of real educational reform, or will these plans on paper face the same implementation challenges that have persisted for decades? Well, joining us on the show today is Deputy Education Minister YB Wong Kah Woh. He replaces YB Buyin in the role following last December's cabinet reshuffle. Deputy Minister, thank you so much for being on the show with me. It's good of you to join us. If I just may begin by understanding your approach to the role. It's coming up to a year now. It's been 11 months since you've been in this role. When you came into the role, what really was your intention and your vision coming into this role, particularly in bringing your past experience as the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee?
Thank you, Melisa. Very good evening to everyone. Good to be back here to consider this, and of course, in a different role. And as said by Melisa, I got appointed to this role back in December last year. It had been 10 months time since I reported duty to KPM. And of course, if we talk about the differences of responsibility or the difference in role, comparing my time as the chairman of PAC when I came here for an interview, then until now in KPM, definitely there is a huge difference. I always say is that when you are in PACs, our role is to investigate, or put it in some of the more layman term, that is to grill people and to find out what has actually gone wrong and so on. Of course, in Education Ministry, in KPM, our role is now to make sure all the policies, the directions are being implemented well. And of course, in terms of projects that I, when I was in PAC, always investigated before on all the ministries. So in terms of projects, how do we make sure that all the projects are being done well and being executed well? And of course, a lot of matters, all these matters are down to the commitments by the ministers, by the higher level of governance in the ministry, and of course down to all the civil servants that are executing the matters. So from time to time, of course, my experience in PAC do help me a lot in terms of understanding how the whole government works, and in terms of understanding and get into how the system works. And from there, of course, from time to time, I will give some advice to our officers, to my colleagues in KPMs, as to what I have seen earlier during all my PAC investigations, whether on KPM's projects or some other ministry projects. And from there, how can we avoid the similar situation from happening, and at the same time to improve ourselves and to improve the delivery system overall. Okay. So, yeah.
Right. So essentially, your experience in PAC, making sure that government money is spent well, that projects are well executed. You're bringing that into your role in the Education Ministry. And I want to ask you about this recently launched strategic education plan. So it's for the next 6-7 years. And I'm curious to know what it entails. There's not been a lot of details released about it, but what exactly does this blueprint seek to achieve?
Okay, thank you. The Strategic Education Plan, which in Bahasa we call it Plan Strategi Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, PSKPM, was actually launched three weeks ago on a Monday, where it spelled out a detailed roadmap as on our ministry strategic direction in managing Malaysia education operation for the next 7 years. Of course, the focus in our plan, in this strategic education plan, is number one, the access to quality education. That is number one. Number two, strengthening digital education. You all know we have launched our Dasar Pendidikan Digital last year in November, right before I came in. So we put a lot of emphasis on digital education. And number 3, on improving educational facilities. Number 4, empowering human resources management. And lastly, transforming good governance within KPM and also for the whole delivery system. And we hope with this plan strategy, Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, which lay down the guidelines, lay down the directions for our education operations for the next 7 years. We hope all our focus in educations, like what we've always mentioned, Pendidikan Manusiawi, digital educations, the delivery system in KPM, we can improve and we can enhance the same. We can improve and we can enhance the performance, and from there we can deliver something better for our nation and for our people.
I mean, wonderful, because Malaysia's never short of great blueprints, right? We always have these really great, wonderful, ambitious education plans, and we seem to understand where the challenges are, where the hurdles are. We understand where the problems are, but we can't seem to cross those hurdles. How do you see your time in this role, also the strategic education plan that we have here, how might it move further than where we already are? Do you see this as being something new, something different that we could actually progress? Do you see there an opportunity here for real education reform?
Yeah, thank you. I fully agree with you where a lot of times we can have great plan, can have a very comprehensive plan, but when it comes to execution, they may face some problem and eventually the plan doesn't carry out. So that happens in the past in a lot of issues that we are facing. Of course, for this strategic education plan, for this strategic education plan 2024 to 2030, what we emphasize is definitely, I mean, in the past 1 year I'm in KPM, we do emphasize on the value of teamwork as to how do we have a teamwork from the minister, deputy minister, from the KP, KSU, and to all our colleagues in KPM to carry out and to execute whatever stated in the strategic education plan. That is number 1. And of course, how do we get getting the buy-ins from our key stakeholders are very, very important. And that's why on all these blueprint or all these plan, before we roll out and before we, during the process of planning all these roadmap and also plannings, we will definitely have our sesi libat urus, our engagement with all the stakeholders. The stakeholders including, of course, our educators, the teachers, the NGOs, our friends who are active in pushing for education reforms agendas. And these are the people that we always meet and we always discuss and we always engage in order for us to listen to their views. Town hall meetings, if you can notice, we actually go around the nation for all the town hall meetings, not only for this strategic education plan, but of course, if you all know, our Plan Pembangunan Pendidikan Malaysia is going to end by next year, 2025. And we were planning since early of this year to have the new roadmap, the new plan post 2026. And we have been going around the nations by zone, southern area, southern area, northern area, and even in East Malaysia. We engage with everyone, we listen to everyone, because we believe that the views from the people, the views from the ground is very, very important for us when we craft the whatever directions and whatever policies way forward. And of course, internally, in terms of how do we make sure the targets or the aims in our plans are being achieved. We have our performance indicators that is within KPM itself to track our progress. And of course, we have the steering committees and monitoring committees chaired by the Secretary General of KPM. Right. So from there, we will definitely go by times. From time to times, we make sure that whatever we need to achieve is being achieved, and whatever improvement that really need to be done, we have to do it.
Okay, so YB, that consultation process sounds extensive, and I'm sure everyone has an opinion about, education, the state of Malaysian education. I'm curious to know about the buy-in of a specific stakeholder, which is very difficult to appease, the parents, right? So when we think about getting the buy-ins parents for any kind of educational change or to be invested in changing the system, I want to talk to you about, for instance, the PT3 and UPSR exam. We already have the education minister saying that it will not return, but the issue keeps resurfacing. And I do wonder, what are your thoughts on that? Why do you think parents want to bring the exam back?
Okay. Answering the first part of your question is how do we get the buy-ins from our stakeholders? Of course, KPM is the largest ministry. It's the largest ministry amongst all. We are dealing with more than 10,000 schools, 5 million students, 420 students. And of course, if we are talking about 5 million students, we can expect at least we have 10 million parents who are on the ground and will be giving their ideas, their opinions from time to time to us. So getting buy-ins is definitely not easy, but of course, we believe if we listen and if we engage, a lot of times we will be able to sell our ideas. We will be able to convince the parents out there or the stakeholders out there as to the directions of KPMs. And of course, before we set our directions, the views and the opinions from the stakeholders are always welcome and always being taken into consideration. So back in your specific question on UPSR and PT3, as you all know, a few years ago, we have already abolished UPSR and PT3. We are now left with a single exam, that is SPM for Form 5. So that is a centralized exam. So in replacement for UPSR and PT3, we have introduced this Pentaksiran Berasaskan Sekolah, school-based assessment, which we call it Pentaksiran Berasaskan Sekolah, whereby we actually give the teachers more autonomy in assessing a particular students from all angles. So that is how we move on from exam-based education to an assessment-based education. Of course, when we talk about UPSR, PT3, I was a UPSR student, I was a PMR student, I was an SPM student. A lot of times parents will see that a centralized exam where the questions is being prepared by Lembaga Peperiksaan and it is being assessed by the teachers outside school. They may see it as more fair or more comprehensive. But of course, for the whole argument, from what I see, I spoke to a lot of parents. I spoke to a lot of my friends. There are two views about this. Some of them will feel that, like you say, they want UPSR and PT3 back because they see it as one and only way where we can assess or where we can test our children's ability. So that is the view of some of the parents. But on the other segment, we need to recognize also after the abolishment of the of UPSR, PT3, and also PMR, the policy or the direction was actually quite received, where the parents are saying that, look, we are happy that the schools now, that our education now is not only focused on exam. It is not solely exam based, but we actually access our students from all their activities. That's why from here also we give a lot of autonomy to our teachers, to the schools, as to how they assess the students. Some of the students may be good academically in academic. Some of the students may be good in their language command, but they are not good in some other subjects. But some of the students, you may find them having born skill on STEM or even on their ability in mastering digital education and so on. And this is where we want to build a student from all angles to make sure they are not only being trained academically, but of course, they are being taken from where their strength coming from. So this is what we call kemenjadian murid, the performance and also the development of our kids are more important, because at the end of the day, the school children, the parents and also the school teachers who face our kids every day, they know better where is the strength of our kids. They can access it better, and for the weaknesses of one particular kid, they know where to improve and where to give them encouragement. So that's why, as what said by our minister, this our policy and our direction will carry on. And of course, we do not want our children, we hear from a lot of parents, we do not want our children to be tikus mak mau, so that suddenly change, this year we have exam, next year we don't have, and so on. But of course, in terms of examination, assessment in terms of exam, even though we do not have UPSR now, we still have this which we call UASA, have been introduced in the past 2 years, where our teachers were actually trained by Lembaga Peperiksaan to prepare the pool of questions with certain level of standard, with their SOPs, with their specification, to make sure the questions are of high level standard, and at the same time, we make sure that our teachers are being given autonomy.
So teachers have autonomy to tailor some of the questions to the children that they have been teaching for the past year. Is that right?
On UASA, the teachers have the autonomy to tailor the question, to come up with the question, but the standard of the question will still be based on the specifications or the standard set by Lembaga Peperiksaan.
Okay.
So the examination board of KPM. So the teachers will still, the teachers will be attending trainings, and from there, the teachers will come back to school, will come back to their own district, and to be the trainers themselves, to set the standard and to tell the teacher what is being expected from you when you prepare the questions for Ujian Akhir Sesi Academic.
Okay.
UASA.
YB, you mentioned a little earlier that the National Education Policy was launched last year, and it's now being integrated into the teaching and learning for students. And I want to ask you about that, because MOE has a digital education learning platform, right? So the Delima platform. Can we talk a little bit about that? How are we making sure that Delima is a success story? Because previously we've got some, we have a history of One Bestari Net project. Yes, that when you think about the digital strategy of the Education Ministry, One Bestari Net comes to mind. How do we avoid the shortcomings of One Bestari Net being replicated or being repeated with Delima?
Okay, let's talk about digital education first. Digital education policies was actually developed and received approval by the Cabinet on May 26, 2023. And we have launched our digital education policy on 28th of November 2023. So that was 2 weeks before I joined KPM. And this digital education policy actually laid down quite a number of targets or aims that we wanted to achieve. That is on the digitally proficient students, competency of the educators, digital leadership culture, and the improvement of infrastructure and also infrastructure, and of course, the committed strategic partners together with high quality digital content that we created. And next, when we talk about Delima, yes, rightly pointed out by Melisa, we had a very bad experience on the previous digital education platform, which was One Bestari Net. And actually, that was one of the very first very first investigation launched by PAC during my tenure as well. But just that Parliament was dissolved earlier, so we couldn't come up with our report that time. So there was one Besari net, and I personally see that one Besari net is more on commercial base. It may only benefit certain segment, certain companies for the commercial benefit, and the focus actually wasn't really with the students. And you all can see in 2018, 2019, when we wanted to start pushing for digital education, one Besari net was coming to its end that time, and was actually stopped by the then minister YB Malik. And 2019, a success story by KPM since then, we managed to develop in-house this platform. We call it Platform Dilemma, and whereby if you look at Platform Dilemma, it provides a lot of materials on the platform for the teachers and also for the students. Just allow me to share some of the materials that we have on Dilemma platform since day one. Until today, we have uploaded 789 digital textbooks. That comprises of majority of the textbook. I wouldn't say all, because I was given to understand that some textbooks are actually bound by copyrights issue, so we cannot upload it digitally. But the rest, majority of it, no issue. 789 digital textbooks, 12,762 videos, and 170 educational radios podcasts available to be accessed for free by the teachers and also students. And at the same time, we also have 5,843 materials sharing or content sharing by our teachers. You know, we have like... let me just finish this first.
Sorry, to jump in, and maybe you can add this into your answer. But are the students using it? So you say the teachers are uploading content, but are the students...
Yeah, I'll give you the figure later. I'll give you the figure later. Okay. When we talk about the sharing of contents by the teachers, you know, we have 420,000 teachers overall in Malaysia, and we have more than 10,000 schools in Malaysia. And how do we get all the teachers to share their ideas, to share their views as to how to, for example, in one segment, how do you deal with the kids in PPKI, the special needs kids? How do we deal with them? So for those teachers who have their ideas and who have their own initiative as to how do we deal with, for example, the special kids, they will create content digitally, and they will upload it on Dilemma, so that people can, I mean, the teachers and also the student can access. So now we talk about the usage of Dilemma. Okay, usage of Dilemma, of course, in a very ideal situation. Dilemma simply means that at any time, anywhere, you can access to your textbooks, you can access to Google Classroom, and you can access to whatever you need to learn from school. But of course, a lot of times we also face with the poor or the rural areas where they may not have internet access at home, they may not have tablets and so on. That is another issue. But when we talk about the whole platform is there for those who have access and who wanted to have access. The usage, the active user. How do we define active user? Active user is for those who have logged in. Every student and every teacher will have a Dilemma ID. Okay, I as a parent also, I have a Dilemma ID. Okay, every one of them will have a Dilemma ID. Active user meaning that you log into Dilemma, go into the applications at least 3 times a week. That is how we define active, at least 3 times a week. So as far as teachers is concerned, the active login as at now, September 2024, we have achieved 93%. 93% active login by the teachers. That means at least 1 week, at least 3 times. So for the students, we are still trying to catch up. As of September this year, we have managed to push up to 39% of our students. Of course, compared to the usage of the teachers, is still quite low. But if you compare to the usage end of last year or early this year, the trend is actually increasing. So we are pushing up to 39%. Of course, our hope in near future is that means in another 6 months' time, we want to push it up to 45% at least. So this is how we try to push it up. So as I said, dilemma is very useful. One point I wanted to add is on this the execution or the implementation of our book vouchers, the voucher buku. You know what happened? The book vouchers scheme has stopped for 2-3 years, if not mistaken. And this year, during Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur, PMX has announced, he actually announced on the spot. He announced on the spot that, look, I wanted to give book vouchers to our kids. Year 4 to year 6, 50 ringgit. Remove Form 1 and above, 100 ringgit. So KPM is actually in charge for all those students who are not in UNISI. UNISI will be in charge by KPT, Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, and the rest will be in charge by us. Altogether, 284 million allocations being prepared by MOF and KPM for this rollout. And the best thing is, after the announcement, PM actually said on the stage, okay, look, your Pesta Buku is going to end in 4 days' time. So today I'm here. So how are you going to ensure the book vouchers is actually rolled out and implemented immediately? So we took up the task, and I tell you, within 20 hours, the system is ready on dilemma. Parents, students can start to redeem the vouchers online, and from there, they can purchase it online as well. And of course, that was in May. Until now, we are still pushing for more redemption on it. We have 284 million. But the things that I wanted to tell you all is, Dilemma is a platform where we can actually get things done very fast, just how we demonstrated during the rolling out of our Buku voucher, of our book vouchers initiative announced by PMX. 20 hours, we get it done.
YB Wong, we are nowhere near done talking about education, but unfortunately that's all the time we have on the show today, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today and giving us some insight into the work that is being done by the Ministry behind the scenes. So thank you for your time. That was Deputy Education Minister YB Wong Kah Woh. They're wrapping up this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.